Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Ooh, nasty upper register. Listen. Thanks to the binder of truth, okay, on Real Housewives of Potomac, part 1 reunion, I am having an excellent Monday. Plus, they delivered my mattress today, okay. Super excited, right? Listen, these Real Housewives of Atlanta, it was a good episode. It was all right. It was all right. I think we might have to check the binder of truth for a chapter on Kenya, because on Watch What Happens Live last night, she was shading Monique. You too, Kenya, can get the binder of truth. Okay, you too, huh? Can get your own chapter and or verse in the binder of truth. But let's talk about the ladies, okay? This is season 13, episode 2, New Peach in the Orchard, child. And we get introduced to these 2 new housewives, peach holders. Drew Sidora is one, and Toya, I don't know what her last name is another. Now, let me say this. On Watch What Happens Live last night, I still had not seen the Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? I went straight from Power, uploaded that, then I watched, of course, the Potomac review. I was so tickled by the the binder of truth, snatching all of Giselle's edges, that I went right into that review. And so I'm just now seeing Real Housewives of Atlanta today, Monday. So I watch what happens live, and Kenya was saying how she loved Toya. Now they gave her one of them stupid little quizzes, they do little trivia things they do. They asked their guests to do. And she was like, Toya. I was like, oh, okay. So what, you Mrs. Toya now? You know what I'm saying? You Mrs. Toya now? But I can see why she would, now after having watched the episode, I can see why she would be so fond of her, because they're very similar. They both have, just really, really shady ways. They're both inappropriate in some areas. A lot of the way Toya is acting now, if y'all go back to the first couple of seasons that Kenya was on, y'all remember she was extremely inappropriate with Apollo, and very flirtatious, inappropriate conversations directed at the husbands, that type of thing. And Toya is giving me that tease. Like, she's giving me that same energy. Like, she might have to have her coattail pulled at some point as well. Okay, now she married and Drew married, but Toya is separated from her husband. Drew been with her husband 6.5 years, and they having issues, but we're gonna talk about all that. So the opening scene is Cynthia coming over to Kenya's house. It's, a beautiful home. They're gonna sit on the patio. I did notice, I don't know if they were doing a lot of testing, but I did notice that the ladies, Cynthia and Kenya, neither one of them started the scene with a mask. And I don't know if they tested them. And then when Toya came in, much to Cynthia's chagrin, She didn't have a mask on either, and they hugged and kissed. I was like, what in the hell is going on? This early COVID, because this was summer, it was still hot, so we still in early COVID. Like, y'all hoes ain't scared? Like, what is y'all doing? Anyway, now, at this time, when they sat down, Cynthia had brought a rosé, and Kenya told her that she invited Toya over, and Cynthia was immediately like, you invited an extra guest? You invited somebody we don't even know? Like, we about to kiki, right? Like, she had been gushing over her anyway, and Cynthia was like, you need to pump your brakes with, you know, liking her so much. And she told Kenya, when Kenya went to answer the door, Kenya was like, let me go down and get her. And Cynthia was like, I had to track through the woods, by the highways and byways, over the river and through the woods to get up here to your porch, and you gonna go down and let her in the easy way? And she was like, well, girl, it's her first time coming over, and I just feel like... And she was like, all right, that's fine. But I'm sitting right here. I'm not moving. I'm sitting closer to you. I was like, you tell her, Cynthia. I thought she was going to quickly type out, ask what her printer ID name was so she can quickly print out, okay, from her phone, friend contract. I need you to sign here and here and here and here and make sure you're aware of these things and these things and these things. Cynthia, girl, you got to calm down. Anyway, we get to meet Toya, and she from Trinidad, child. And she's a pretty girl, but you know, everything is Trini. Your accent is not that strong for you to be referenced everything to Trinidad. Like, she was like, that's what we call Trini men this and Trini men that, and in Trinidad we call it this, we call it that. I was like, Peter's accent was stronger than yours, sis. But you seem more involved. But it's okay, it's fine. A lot of Trini talk. And she got a lot of sexual energy. It's a lot of sexual energy between her and Kenya as well. It's a lot of sexual energy between her and Kenya. I don't know. So Cynthia brings in Drew Sidora. Okay, so we wrap up what's going on at Kenya's house. Then we see Drew Sidora and Cynthia go and have lunch/dinner, because it got dark there after a while. And we get to meet Drew Sidora, and she is Drew Sidora from the game. She doing plays and stuff like that, you know, the circuit. And Cynthia really likes her, you know, so Kenya really likes Toya, and Cynthia really likes Drew. And it's just odd because although she had met Drew before, they both, Kenya and Cynthia both kind of seem like they all in. Now, it's funny because Cynthia did mention that Kenya is hard on new girls, right? And although Cynthia traditionally isn't, I just felt like Kandi, who knew Drew? Was it? No, Kandi knew Toya. So maybe Cynthia do know Drew. Anyway, they had comfortable conversations about quarantine sex and Kenya. If she knew Kenya, if Drew knew Kenya, because Kenya worked plays. And she said probably age range wise, they probably don't work in the same place, which doesn't really mean anything because you got people of different age ranges on plays all the time. I think it was a little shade, but we're going to let it slide. And then we go to meet Drew's family. Her husband, Ralph. You know, that name kills me. But her husband, Ralph. You don't find a lot of young men named Ralph, right? So, her husband, Ralph, and the 3 kids. The oldest baby she had before she met him. So, he by another man. Her mama, Pastor Jeanette, lives with her. And her mama came down to take care of her after she hurt her foot. Now, she wearing a boot on her foot. Because when I first saw it, it was at the last scene. I was waiting on Real Housewives reunion to come on. It was the last scene. And I saw her walking. I said, she got one leg shorter than the other. But turns out she got a boot on because she hurt her Achilles tendon. And her mama came down to take care of her. And because of COVID, she never went back home to Chicago. So she living with them and helping them with the kids. And Drew got the boot on. And her husband Ralph, he seemed like a nice guy. He's supposed to be a big time in the IT field, which he would have been a good fit for Tanya and her man because they both in like an IT type field, right? But it turns out him and Mark pretty close. And they got beautiful children, all of that. She's a pretty girl. They seem like they're happy enough. It's a cute scene. Let's move on. So we're going to talk about Porsha, PJ, and the Hot Dog King. Now, Porsha is back from Kentucky, fresh out of jail, and she talked with her mom and them on FaceTime and just talked about how she was feeling, her experience. So, obviously, she was anxious to get home. When she got home, of course, PJ is in full rare form. Number one, she's sleepy, and number two, she is spoiled. Everybody just loves her to pieces, right? So, we see her falling out here and there, and then she fighting, going to sleep, all of that. And Porsha talks about how at first when her and Dennis went into quarantine, it was like, quarantine time, like snug, or quarantine time and hit it from the back. Quarantine time and eat and snuggle, and hit it from the back. And she said at some point, that just left, right? And the relationship became a little bit more toxic, or became toxic. And the simple things turned out to be toxic things because they were being done in this way that each one of them was fighting and arguing, and it was just getting to this really weird place. Now, he was down there with her in Kentucky when she got arrested, But they having issues. They having trouble, And I mean, I guess it's a good thing that quarantine happened because you don't really know if you can live with somebody until you live with them. You know what I'm saying? When they got a sick tummy, when they sleepy, when they hungry, when they done had a long day. You don't know if they OCD about cleaning. You don't know if they don't give a flip about cleaning. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if they brush their teeth till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, or unless they absolutely have to. Like, you don't know all these things until you live with them for a good click, right? So she's learning all these things, and she's just not sure. I was like, child, I ain't sure either. But you got you a baby girl, and that's what's important. So let's go down to lakes, rivers, fake plants, cold meatballs, sharp tongues, sharp tails, claws. This was Cynthia Bailey's wine tasting. Now, she is looking at a bevy of black-owned wine companies to send her wine so that she can stock it into the Bailey cellar. So, shout out to Cynthia. Second season, she still has the Bailey cellar. It's still doing well. And she is working her business. So for that, I want to say kudos, because a lot of these ladies start businesses and it just goes flat. It just goes nowhere. Like, we never hear about it again. So shout out to Cynthia and the Bailey wine cellar. Maybe I will come down and buy me a good bottle of wine now one of these days. Mask on, of course. So the house looks beautiful. It's a completely different energy in Cynthia's house. Now that she's with Mike and he's staying there, it's a completely different energy in this house. I'm just really liking how warm and bubbly Cynthia is. Still same old Cynthia, and she just seems more settled in, kind of, so to speak. And so she has all the ladies over, and when they were at Kenya's house, Toya kept calling Lake Bailey a river. And Cynthia was like, it's not a river, it's a lake. Oh, there's a difference. There is a difference. A lake is a larger body of water. A river, it can be a large body of water depending on the size of the river. A lake is more still water, although it's moving. River water tends to be a little bit faster. That type of thing. It's different. It's different. I'm just saying. It's different. Anyway, so they coming over to Lake Bailey for this wine tasting. Cynthia and Toya, and Toya is still trying to quantify why she calls it a river rather than a lake. I guess she's saying you can see on the other side of it, so it's not really like it just didn't make any sense. And Kenya was like, okay, you still trying to make that work. It was a weird moment. It was a weird moment. And it just kind of let us know that she is, she's determined. She's determined to be obtrusive and obnoxious, in my opinion. But let's go on to the wine tasting. Okay, so Cynthia invited Toya, Kenya, Marlo. Marlo and Kenya being nice, nasty, but they not really getting along. Marlo sits next to Kenya and shades Kenya. What about Kenya constantly pulling that leave out, picking with that leave out, trying to get it trying to rake it over that track? I was just like, girl, just run to the restroom and get your brush out and bring that hair down to a workable level. That's all you got to do. Or bring you a wax stick or something. But you should not be caught on camera. And you used to them filming doing this or picking with your leave out. Digging out of your booty, your nose, like all of these things are a no-go. Anyway, let's see. And she also invites Drew. Drew comes in, and by this time there's quite a bit of shade has been thrown. First about the river. Then she notices the plant in the house, and she says, "Is that a fake plant?" This Toya, right? And then she has a bit of something to eat, and Kenya shades the fake grapes. It might have been Toya, but like I said, slowly but surely you see that they are very similar, so you can kind of get their comments mixed up. She said she had some real grapes, but they didn't look too good. On the plate for decoration, she had fake grapes. And I don't know if it was Kenya that was kind of ribbing her about it. Cynthia is easy read for Kenya. She tried to do it in like a light-hearted way. She can't really lose Cynthia as a friend. She don't really have anybody else that love her like that and hang with her like that and defend her. Kenya just do not have a lot of friends. So she still really enjoys shading Cynthia. And at the same time, Toya says, eats a meatball. She was like, oh, these are good. She said, I love a good cold meatball. I was like, okay, girl. Okay, now when people go off on you, don't act like you don't know that you being shady, right? So, like I said, sharp tongues. Drew comes in. She fake air kisses everybody and sits down. Marlo has gotten up and gone to get something to eat. She sits down next to Cynthia, I think. Marlo is still sitting there. And they kind of start talking to her a little bit. And she starts talking about how she got hurt. Toya cuts her off, basically, and says that she needs more wine or more something to eat or something. And when Cynthia gets up to go get some more and walk, I can't remember how it all played off, but she gonna sidle over to Kenya because Kenya and Toya was sitting next to each other and was like, oh, it's a dead animal on her head. There is a dead animal on her head. This is what she says to Kenya, and the mic catches it. I think Cynthia heard it too. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? This is what I'm saying. Okay, so let's pause for a minute when we talk about aggression in Black women, right? Let's just talk about it for a minute because it's supposed to be this misnomer and it's supposed to be this branding for Black women that they can't get out from under. And this is all I'm going to say. If you don't want to be considered aggressive, don't be aggressive, right? Like, I feel like although she wasn't talking loud, she was just whispering a little bit. You have created this aggressive tension in the room, okay? By one, you cutting her off. Two, you trying to take up space in the room and be the loudest and be seen. It's a form of aggression, right? Like, it's not I'm mad as hell, but it's this really gregarious, gung-ho type of energy that kind of displaces people and make people feel uncomfortable. Then you're going to drop an insult. An insult is always an act of aggression. Now, it would be an act of aggression if you were white as snow or if you black as coal, all right? We just get tagged with it the most because we are passionate about a lot of stuff. But at the same time, you also have to say to yourself, am I crossing the line between being passionate about something and becoming now aggressive? Everybody has to check themselves. You have to check your tone. You have to check the sharpness, the curtness. You have to check that interrupting. You have to check all of these things. And I'm not telling you, I'm telling me. I'm saying I am guilty of it as well. I will go 0 to 10 in the situation and it don't mean nothing to nobody but me. And I have to like dial it back, like take it down. Like it's not that serious. Okay. And I really didn't recognize that about myself until I dated somebody who was super, super calm. And it made my high energy stand out that much more. It made me come across that much more gregarious. Right? Aggression can come in a lot of different forms. It's unfortunate that black women always get tagged with that, but this is a very good example of why. Why would you insult this lady and she one stone's throw away? You wasn't going to get away with it. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't anything that needed to be said like right then. Like right then, you are having this attempt to create this really bad space in the middle of this function. And frankly, you don't know any of these girls well enough to do that. It was out of order. In the same vein, Drew continues to talk and, get to know the girls. Kenya is still sitting there and Marlo gets up, her and Toya, and they go to the table, to get some food. And I don't know what the context was or what preluded the conversation, but we hear Marlo saying, girl, don't trust Kenya. This is what she tell Toya. Don't tell her none of your business, girl, because she gonna keep it and use it against you. And Toya is like, not even to get advice. She was like, listen, she she can't keep a man even if she pay for it or something. I was like, Marlo! It was funny. It was true, but it's, again, a bit of aggressiveness. It was done in a whisper, but you are insulting this woman to someone that she brought with her to the function. Did it have to be done right then, right there? Like, why wouldn't you invite Marlo out why wouldn't you invite Toya out to lunch? Or to get snacks or whatever, drinks or whatever. Like, why would you do it right here, right now? And you mic'd up. It's a form of aggression. I'm sorry. You invite someone to a home and people start dragging you or start doing these little passive aggressive digs. It's aggressive in my opinion. It's aggressive in my opinion. And it's certain parts of the hood where it might pop off. Like you might get jumped by a sister and two cousins behind some stuff you done said. So I'm just saying. They go outside to do the actual wine tasting. This after they had a couple of snacks and stuff. Now, Toya and Kenya were getting like very, very frisky with one another. And there was this conversation about what a sugar daddy is. It was all very entertaining. And it was true Real Housewives of Atlanta form and fashion. Mark came up the stairs and he was looking like, yeah, they finna kiss. They finna kiss. They finna kiss. Let me see your titty. Oh, no. all these girls and my man there. Baby, you can let me know what you need from up here. I'll get it for you, right? You ain't gotta be that. You ain't gotta be that nervous. But anyway, yeah, you gotta be that nervous, right? You gotta keep your eye on people. So, when Drew get to her husband and Mike Hill are good friends, and so they go on down and talk, right? And then when they down there talking, the two guys, they talking about the relationship and how hard it is to get to know somebody and marry somebody and be with somebody and live with somebody and all of this stuff. And Ralph, Drew's husband, get to talking about how he like to, you know, step away and get his time away because he got her mama, he got 3 kids, and they in quarantine and he just don't know, and sometimes he just have to, you know, go and do his own thing. Now, he doesn't roll it out for us in full fashion, but this is what he telling Mike Hill. So, anyway, the girls get outside and the knives continue, you know what I'm saying? The little digs continue. It is a bit friendly, but the ladies are drinking now. They are drinking. I can tell that Kenya was a little bit toasty, even though she was driving. It was, you know, do you swallow or spit? It's this whole thing. It turned out to be a nice function. It did. It turned out to be a nice function. But Toya basically shades Cynthia and Drew. Marlo shades Kenya. You know, so it was a typical Real Housewives of Atlanta event. And then they talk about separation and divorces. What's the difference between being separated and divorced? And we learned that Toya, like I said, has a lot of sexual energy. She feels like you ought to be able to trick out when you get separated. And which, by the way, she's currently separated. And Drew feel like, no, you still married. You still married. Mainly because her husband is always throwing the divorce comment out there. When things get too heated between them, he always mentions, well, maybe we should get a divorce. I was like, girl, that's not good. It's not good that your man disappear. And it's not good that he always got the divorce comment in chamber, ready to go, ready to fire, safety off, right? But then we see, first of all, Kenya weighs 188 pounds and she is shocked. I was like, oh, okay, girl. All right. So then we see at Drew's house, it's their 6th anniversary. He already surprised her with flowers, but now he's surprised her with a dinner. He's got a chef there cooking for them, and they sit down, they have dinner, they have a little bubbly, and you know, it's this anniversary talk and this talk about if she's happy, what are some things that don't make her happy. And she brings up the fact that a couple of weeks earlier they had an argument. He went to his home office. She went down to the home office to check on him and he was gone. And she didn't see him for 3 days. And she don't know where he was. And he still haven't told her. So she was like, when you disappear and we don't handle the situation, we don't talk about it, and you don't tell me where you was, this is a bone of contention for me. Like, it's officially one of my pet peeves now. Like, and he doesn't really want to talk about it. Well, she also had been noticing they got cameras all over the house because he techie, but she also found a picture frame that had a camera in it that was focused to her bed, and she saw on his phone where there was a photo of her sleeping. I was like, what the duck? It's one thing. I'm gonna tell you something. It's one thing to have cameras at your entryways and your outerways, garage. It's one thing to have a camera in the hallway where you can see people coming and going and in and out of the bedrooms. But it's a completely different situation to have cameras inside your bedroom like that. And both parties don't know that they're on camera. That means you watching your wife get undressed. You watching her picking her nose. Like, it's creepy. It's creepy, and you best tell me where all these cameras are. And don't do that. I'm gonna tell you something. I can't tolerate it. I can't tolerate it. That is a non-negotiable. Lying, stealing, and that type of controlling, baby, when you got cameras on me and I don't even know it, in my own home, in the bathroom, you got cameras. Like, what the duck? I don't like that ish. Well, he denies the cameras. He denies that he has pictures. She insists on seeing his phone because that's where she saw the sleeping picture at. She pulls in. She was like, "You deleted it." Now he still won't tell her where he was. He did admit that he wasn't in the state of Georgia, but he didn't tell her where she wasn't. He was like, "Why you keep dwelling on that? Either you gonna move forward or you not gonna move forward. First of all, take some of the bass out of your voice. You asked me what some of my concerns are, and now that I'm telling you, you over talking me and you trying to poo-poo my concerns. Oh yeah, maybe we should get a divorce. Oh, I would disappear. I would disappear on that ass for real. Okay, and we can talk about divorce because you're not gonna rule over me. You ain't finna rule over me. You was not finna rule over me. It's not a good look, but you don't want to tell me nothing about what you got going on. I was like, hell no, girl. You got a problem on your hands. And I'm going to tell you right now, here's a dude that's not going quietly. So you best to make a plan of escape. And that was the episode, you guys. Tell me what you think. It was good to see the ladies all back together. Like I said, having a good old-fashioned Real Housewives of Atlanta get together, like a little inappropriate conversation, a little shade, a little wine, a little nosh. Like this is one of the reasons why we love the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They do this better than anybody. Gather and Kiki. But y'all tell me what you think. Put it down below. And until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah. I holla.